Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Z. I'm a clinical psychologist specializing in transgender care. Welcome to my channel. And if you are a viewer, regular or new one that has not yet subscribed, as I always say, make sure you do subscribe. Not only you supporting me, but you're helping a lot of other viewers find this content. And if you have not yet followed me on Instagram, link is below. Make sure you also follow me on Instagram. I would love to connect with you via that platform because that's the only place where I show up other than YouTube to share with you tips, advice, and daily guidance. So make sure you do connect with me on Instagram. Having said that, let's discuss today what is the biggest challenge of going through gender transition, because I feel like we talk a lot about starting gender transition, figuring out who you are. We talk a lot about or a lot of people, actually a lot of YouTubers out there, a lot of people on social media out there tend to do a lot of before and after, right? So we see a ton of people doing before they started gender transition and miraculous, beautiful, amazing after. But this part, the most difficult part of gender transition, and I have yet to see a person that would say that this was not the most difficult part of gender transition, seldom gets talked about. And that is the middle part of gender transition. That's the middle phase of gender transition. And I will explain to you why that particular middle part is the most challenging, the most difficult. A lot of times people think starting gender transition is the most difficult, right? And part of it feels like it is the most difficult because that's when um, you make the decision. That's when you confront a lot of things that maybe you did not want to confront. That's when you also have to face potential reality that comes with it. And for that reason, it may feel like that the hardest thing of gender transition. That's when people feel like they um, gone through the most challenging part. And initially, it may feel very hard, but that is not the hardest part. And anybody who been through gender transition, whatever that may mean for you, whether it is just going through social elements or going through also social and medical elements of gender transition, knows that that's not the difficult part. It is difficult, but the most difficult part that people seldom talk about is the middle part. Middle part is a part that is defined when you are starting to shift, starting to evolve from your assigned gender, and you're starting to slowly evolve into your authentic gender. It's the middle part where people oftentimes describe it as it's a hybrid part where I'm in between genders, right? It's almost like part of me still presenting as my assigned gender, part of me starting to now feminize or masculinize or have more non-binary presentation, and but yet not fully there. Especially for a lot of you watching who do care about passing, that makes it even more challenging because that's the in-between part where a lot of misgendering happens. That's in-between part where you're struggling with socially being out and open as yourself because, again, passing is a priority for you. And as a result of being this kind of in this duality, it makes it that much more challenging. That's where a lot of emotional, psychological pain starts to accumulate, is in between part. Another reason why this in between part is so difficult, because when you start up, if medical gender affirming care is going to be part of your gender transition, when you start off, what you're going to feel is most likely you're going to feel immediately really good on hormones, whether it is you feminizing, masculinizing, doing combination, microdosing, you're going to feel good. Part of feeling good is because you are finally getting this biochemical reaction that is more in alignment with how you are. Part of feeling good is because you're finally doing something with your gender dysphoria. You're suddenly taking control of your life. All of this is going to contribute to feeling good. So you undoubtedly feel good and you feel hopeful, optimistic, you're excited. And part of excitement is because you are having perhaps a clear vision who you are evolving into. And then you hit the middle part. That's when things slow down. That's when the physical changes, for those of you who are expecting and waiting for physical changes from hormones, are hitting is a plateau, or things suddenly slow down. Because in the beginning, it's normal to feel changes relatively quickly for some people, because your body is responding, it's getting a different hormone. So you are going to be more susceptible, more um, sensitive, more aware of changes coming in. But then eventually, the changes are going to slow down. And the middle part that has become so frustrating for a lot of people because you feel like they're not happening soon enough. You also feel like you're stuck in this limbo in between genders part. And you feel like you're so dependent on these changes, especially from the hormones, in order to cross over. So that for those of you, again, for whom passing matters, so that um, you can just live your life and not experience any kind of misgendering or not experience any kind of tension or any kind of discomfort that you may feel when you go out socially. And that becomes very, very difficult. It's a part where you're sitting and you're waiting and you're hoping and you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you're just like, where is it? Where am I? Why am I not seeing myself? When is this going to happen? And it becomes that much more difficult because when you're going on social media and you're following profiles from people who, again, remember, a lot of people are going to show before and after. And the reason why a lot of people don't document in like in between and the middle part is because it's not comfortable. It's very vulnerable phase of gender transition. It is incredibly vulnerable. It's vulnerable for you because you feel like this in between. It's vulnerable for you because you also don't want to be seen because you're struggling with yourself. You're struggling because you're realizing you're evolving, but you're not there yet. And that's really hard for a lot of people because as much as we want to say that we gotta love ourselves no matter what, gender dysphoria revolves a lot around physical aspects, physical attributes. And when they're not in alignment, that's going to breed a ton of discomfort. So for that reason, you're not going to see a lot of people who are going to be making YouTube videos or showing pictures of, hey, this is what in between looks like when I gotta grow facial hair in order to go for electrolysis. And I gotta find a way to cover this up because I'm presenting as a female and I'm having this facial hair and it is so jarring and so incredibly triggering and dysphoric for me to go out or to be on video camera for my work meetings. People are not gonna put a photo of themselves like that because we collect likes. We're gonna put pictures of ourselves and we look glorious and amazing and airbrushed and beautiful, right? Nobody's gonna put a photo of themselves struggling in between because they're gonna be feeling very vulnerable, understandably so, and feel like they're going to invite a lot of negative things that they're and frankly, they shouldn't hear because people don't even understand what they're going through. So we don't see a lot of in between. And because you don't see a lot of real experiences of challenges of this part of gender transition, what makes it worse for you going through this phase is that you're seeing before and after, and you're wondering, why is mine not happening soon enough? Why am I stuck here? Why did this person got this great changes? Which, by the way, also there's reality to hormones that we don't talk enough about. So hormones for for a lot of younger generation can do a lot of great changes, but when you've been exposed especially to testosterone for a long time and you're older, hormones are not going to be a miracle. I'm sorry, they're not. And also when you're on masculinizing hormones, sometimes it can take up to 5 years for facial hair to start to appear or for the voice to fully crack. I've seen that. For some people, it's faster. For some people, it's slower. Again, it affects everybody differently. But it's the middle part that is so difficult and not being talked about enough. And it needs to be talked enough. We need to be able to share that more. And we need to be able to talk about different coping ways. healthy coping during this period, because that's a period that is so challenging that makes a lot of people give up, makes people feel that it's never going to happen for them, makes them start feeling helpless. That's when a lot of people also did transition during this period, because primarily for that, for a lot of adults, that's the period when a lot of people just really struggle and they don't get enough help. And that part is meant to be difficult. I don't say that meant as, oh, you need to go through this in order to come on the other side. No, but look, you are changing, and you're not just changing your hairstyle. You are literally shifting and changing your secondary sex characteristics. Your body, for some of you, your body is growing breasts. For some of you, your body is going through fat redistribution. For some of you, your voice is starting to deepen. For some of you, you're starting to get facial hair. With that comes acne for a lot of people. You going through what people like to call puberty. I don't like to call it going through puberty, because as adults, it's a different completely. We need to really find a different way to talk about it, but you're going through a lot of physical changes, and they're not all going to be perfect or beautiful or exactly how you expect them. It all is going to line up, but it takes time. And most of us are not patient. We're not taught patience, and we're not kind to ourselves. And on top of that, we're inundated by before and after, nothing in between. So we assume that if it happened before and after for everybody else, it should happen the same way for us. And when it doesn't happen the same way for us, we start blaming ourselves. Or we start feeling like we're not good enough, or it's never going to happen, which is the worst thing to feel. But this phase is a part of gender transition. Everybody goes through this phase. People who don't go through this phase, or let me put it this way, I have yet to see anybody not go through this phase. I've seen people go through this phase quicker only because they have access to resources and money to be able to get surgery before waiting for the hormones to make changes. And that's their privilege, that they're fortunate, that they're very, very fortunate. And for a lot of people, even if they do have access to gender affirming surgeries can also take time. There might be a wait list for a really good surgeon, even if you can afford them today. So this in-between period is difficult. It is challenging, but it is part of it. It is part of it. And changes are happening. They're just not happening. It's not that let me rephrase it. Changes are happening. You're just not seeing them happening because you're constantly looking for them. I always make the same analogy with weight loss because it's so similar in that regard, in a sense that you started to recomp your body, right? You joined weightlifting program. In the beginning, you see immediate changes, right? Because your body responds quickly to something new coming in. But then you hit plateau where you're looking at yourself in a mirror and you're not seeing anything. And you're not seeing anything because you're looking at yourself every single day. But if you did pictures of yourself before and after every month, you will see changes. They might be small, but they're there. But you want to give up, you want to stop doing it. It's in between that's so difficult. Sometimes you maybe hit plateau on your weight loss where your weight just stays. It doesn't budge. The scale doesn't budge and you just want to be done. You don't understand. How can it be that you're doing everything right and everybody else is losing weight, but you're not? And then one day it happens. It's the same thing with this. This in-between period is just your body adapting. It's your body catching up. It's your body accumulating things. It's your body lining things up for you. It doesn't happen overnight. And you have to be kind to your body. You have to be kind to the way you metabolize hormones. You have to be kind to yourself because you're going to go through this experience in your way. And yeah, you may wish it would happen sooner, but you have to acknowledge that you also have to work with what you have, right? Same with weight loss. Some people, they lose like 50 pounds in 3 months. Some people lose 50 pounds in 3 years doing exact the same thing. We can argue all day that it's not fair, but the reality is that each one of those people had to work with what they were given, and what they were given is their bodies, their composition, the way their body works, the way their body metabolizes stuff. And the same thing goes for you. Honor your body. In the end, your body is going to take care of you. It reminds me of Pablo Picasso said, take care of your paintbrushes because they, in the end, will take care of you. Same thing. Your body, you're feeling dysphoria in relationship to your body, but your body is still there day in and day out that is taking care of you. Without the healthy body, you cannot survive. And so even though it takes a while, recognize this is a natural, not maybe natural, not the right thing to say, because there's nothing natural about gender dysphoria. It's a painful medical condition. But that middle part is a part of the process, and it is there. And everybody who goes through gender transition goes through that part. And for everybody, it's going to look different. Try to step away from comparison games and try to honor your process, and try to remember, in the end of the day, you're here for the long goal, right? You're here for you're here for long term. You're playing a long game. Your game is being you. Your long term is taking care of dysphoria. And so it's not like you're going to get all the changes and then stop, right? I mean, a lot of people don't stop. They continue to evolve and to continue to then go on and live their life in their authenticity, but their life continues in their authentic selves. So acknowledge all of that, pace yourself, give yourself grace, give yourself kindness. And yeah, we do need to talk about the spirit more often. And I need to make a video about coping skills, to give all of you and tips how to manage this time period when it gets really, really difficult and when you want to throw in the towel and give up. Please don't give up. Don't give up. It all will accumulate. But scale back from comparison games, scale back from social media, scale back from seeing yourself, looking at yourself for any changes every day in the mirror. And instead, try to do before and after selfies once a month. You will see those changes. Comment below, what has that period been like for you? What was helpful for you? Are you right now in this in between, this I said, like in between genders period that is so, so difficult for so many? Comment below, let me know, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.